G'day everyone, welcome back to Life on the Hulls. I'm Ross. I'm building a 40-foot fiberglass foam core cruising catamaran and pretty much try to do it all myself, but with the occasional bit of help. Now last week's video created such a stir. I had a lot of great comments. A lot of guys had commented with problem solving and about the editing, and I'm using any spare time I get to get that editing skill up, because I'm finding that's the most arduous part of this whole bloody build, is that editing to get these videos out. This week I'm going to be adjusting those motors into place and showing you how I determined the alignment of my stern drives. Now that's so exciting for me because I can't actually put the modules in place until that stern drive exit point is ascertained, and the nice thing about that is I now have that hole and I'm going to be working through that. And we've got some really special news. Janet and I have had a really big month. In fact, it's taken a lot out of my boat build this month, so my content I'm trying to sort of squeeze in as much as I can, but some pretty exciting news at the end there. It's not so much related to the catamaran, but it is related to my time. So hopefully you'll hang around and check that out, and at the end of the day, it's been an incredible result for Janet and I after 25 years of pretty hard slog to get to this stage. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget the composite shop, jump over there, but straight away, let's get into it. So last week I devised the idea of making an engine lifter platform that actually sat on the chines of the hull side. Now it was good because it kept it nice and level, and probably as a few of you actually noted, I possibly should have put some runners along the side there to keep the wheels straight. That enabled the engine lifter to stay centered as it rolled forward. Now it did actually create a couple of problems with those wheels on a wooden platform. I was probably okay on a concrete floor, but in this case they tended to skew all over the place and did make it a little bit challenging. And I had John, one of the mechanics from next door, come and give me a hand to do the final positioning. Now the final positioning is so critical. Not only does it have to be centered within the skeg there, it also needs to have the correct alignment, and I'll go into that in a bit of detail in a moment with a bit of an animation that I've done here. But getting it exactly in place created a few issues, and coupled that with the fact that the mounts tended to rotate and move as well as I moved it. You can see me here banging it with a block of wood just to get those mounts dead straight. It took absolutely forever to get that done, and ultimately we lined it up with a laser at the back there where John's standing, and we were able to find a center point of the actual of the motor right in the middle of the shaft coupling. So yeah, a little bit of a challenge. I could have possibly have used a block and tackle or a piece of scaffolding in there, but this tended to work. If I ever had to move the motor whilst it's in situ and the boat's on the water, then definitely a scaffold inside would be the answer. But for now, it did a great job. Yeah, that's great. Perfect, mate. Thank you, buddy.
Pity they didn't have a lift point.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks, John. That's great, buddy. So I thought I'd show you right about where we're actually working here in the catamaran itself. This is actually the power cat. You can see here, and I'll overlay pretty much a rough drawing of the inside of the boat here, and then show you exactly where the motor fits on the bearer. This animation here, you can see where the motor actually is sitting there. Is actually in the final stern section of the boat, and then the shaft itself needs to be located on the coupling. And although this is not to scale, it'll give you a bit of an indication as what I'm aiming for is the shaft to exit the hull of the boat and the prop there, and then obviously the rudder behind it. And then really more importantly is I have to aim for a 7-degree angle at the coupling. That's so important that I get that. Got it in, Johnny. Look at that. Alright, so yeah, I can see what you mean. So I've got to find the exact centre point of the...
Well, you've got your lines there on the timber, you're nearly on them, if you have a good look from here.
That little red dot.
You might turn on.
Right there. That is the centre of the motor. How good's that? Look at that. Well, you can't see it. It's not showing up, but that is a laser point there. It's like Laurel and Hardy video productions here. Right, you got it?
Got it.
I'm going right down in the guts.
Looking good. Do it straight, Captain.
Don't break the bolt.
Well, that's the other problem, isn't it? Always pre-drill.
Go forward and back, like you're putting in a tap and die.
Yeah, that's right. They're only shit bolts too, these. They're not.
Yeah, no, they're very weak.
They're not the ones.
Aluminium.
Right. Well, I can always use an easy out to get it out. Right, that's now in. I'm not going to tighten it.
You're not?
Oh, I suppose I should, eh?
Just so it can't slide around.
Oh no, it's pretty tight.
Oh well. No, I mean the engine won't move.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point of this, is just to give me. So I'll leave it loose like that.
Righto.
Right. Okay. I'm down in there. So that one there has an oval adjustment here up to about 20 mil, and same deal with the one at the rear. So if I get these aligned pretty rough, I mean I've got adjustment with the mounts themselves, and that can be done when we're aligning the shaft. Don't you reckon?
Very close.
No, let's have a look. Just watch out for those plastic fittings in there.
No, that's pretty straight there, do you think?
I can't see it.
See it?
Yeah, it looks pretty good, eh?
Well, if you can,
Right.
maybe mark that now before
That one's
you drop
not
it.
though. This one's not. This one here. Oh, I see the adjustment in there. So can you straighten that one up? Get in from behind this end.
Which way is that got to come?
It's got to go
Over.
to me a little bit. Yeah, just.
Oh look, that's
Yeah, no,
moving.
that's separate. Yeah, we need the bottom bit.
Right.
Need the bottom bit.
Oh, that's very fucking difficult, son.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it.
How's that?
Right.
Now look at your
Look at that.
level. Get your level right.
That. Can you just check the level of that? Can you just put that spirit level on it? Let's see what it says. So I'm betting it's level. I've been working pretty hard on it.
Check it over here.
What we got? 0.1 of a degree. Set it back on that flat bit, son. There you go. There you go. Oh! What's that
Zero.
say, everyone? What's that say?
Zero. Bloody
Zero. Mate, I'll tell you. Who is this guy?
You should be an engine installer, son.
That is 0 degrees, and that is level with the bridge deck, which is what's important. We've got it. We've got it, and we've got it smack bang in the guts too. All right, we're going to have a few little fitments now, and we're pretty happy with this one. And we'll move over the other side tomorrow, I think. No ruckers.
No fucking furries.
Cracked all the fiberglass.
Oh yeah.
It's fine. It didn't. It's fine.
What about the board?
We're ready to align this one. I think if I can get the same result tomorrow, I'm going to be, by Wednesday I've got my shaft position. Thursday I'm moving the motors back to where they are. Saturday, Janet and I are lifting them out with the crane. Perfect. So that's the port side motor in. Now I need to do a lot of alignment. It's no good just whacking it here. We need to make sure firstly that the shaft is aligned, and secondly that it's
the right distance from the stern of the boat. They need to be identical. I really have to be careful that that is going to be the case, because if I don't make this one the same as this one, there's obviously going to be a prop shortage, so we need to make sure that one prop's not longer than the other, or that's going to end up walking the whole time. So a lot of alignment to happen now. It's not just a matter of plonking it on the bearers. I then have to get the alignment of that right, and then I've got to look at the shaft itself. The shaft needs to protrude from this coupling at exactly 7 degrees out through the stern tube there. Now that black line that you see there is the bulkhead that I glued onto the module. So that is essentially the deadwood of the boat, and will actually carry a tube through this compartment here, which has an access hatch, so I can see in there at all times to see if there's movement, any sort of damage or whatever, if there's any vibration causing problems. But for now, I've got to get my lasers out. I've got to work out a way now to get that alignment. I'm thinking of a piece of piano wire with a digital gauge, or even a laser somehow mounted to the coupling to shoot into the back of that, so I can locate that stern tube hole. But yeah, pretty exciting times to see this guy in. This has just been such a good process. It's only taken me a day to get them in. It took me a day to lift them in, and then a day to get them to this stage. So up in there, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty centered, but you know, I'm aiming for dead accuracy. I don't want a half-assed effort here. You can see under there, I now need to measure from the end of the boat to the front of the motor to make sure that I have exactly the same distance. Engine alignment has done my head in. Look, it'd be different if I'd bought a car chassis and the mounts were in line, and you know, you can adjust it sideways, back, forth, up, down, get it level. Difference is here, I'm actually built bearers at a certain height and a certain level, and the only important thing is to get my prop shaft angle at 7 degrees, and that is absolutely vital. Now that's taken some thinking, because once the prop, a folding prop or any prop for that matter, becomes more than 10 degrees off level, you lose horsepower and you lose efficiency. So Yanmar have built this motor with an exit shaft, or the gearbox is angled down at 7 degrees. Now that's okay to say that. Or is the engine level in relation to the boat itself? So what I've had to do is calculate the level of the bridge deck, which is my given, and then further calculate the angle of the prop shaft. Now I've actually achieved it over on the port side over there. I've been over there for a day to work this out. Right, from the center coupling here that leads to my shaft, I need to work out exactly where the exit point is to the hull, and I need to do that with a combination of lasers and straight edges and probably some piano wire. So what I've done is I've made up a jig. This here is going to be bolted to the coupling of my motor here, and then I'm going to put a straight edge at 90 degrees from the center out, so that it will actually feed me exactly to my point that is going to exit out of the boat. That's the first part. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to test it with a laser. So my temporary jig for the alignment, it's going to give me exactly 7 degrees, because the shaft coupling is at 7 degrees. That bolts onto the face. That's a straight edge. Has to show me the point down in the skeg. As you can see, my jig that I built here is a dead 90 degree angle to the stern of the boat down here, and to that center line of the actual outlet at the back of the boat. Now I do have a couple of measurements, but they're not going to make a lot of sense because it is a slightly different motor here, but it certainly isn't in the middle of that tube. But what you got to remember is it's going to continue out, and then I'll be putting a foam core stern fairing on the back of this, which will actually form again more of the deadwood in the back of the boat. Now there is a deadwood here along this line here, another one there, and then essentially the foam at the back, which will be glass reinforced, and that'll actually hold the tube in place
in 3 points all the way along there. So that confirms that that position there is at exactly 7 degrees and will be an accurate alignment for the prop shaft. Going to get pretty ugly having to mark that. Look where it is. It's about 5 feet up inside that bloody cavity there. So I need someone small here occasionally, and there's no one around here other than Jaden and Josh over there that would even fit in there. So could be a bit of butt crack going on here. Sorry guys. Here we go. Man, I still don't think I'm going to be able to reach that. I don't think I'm going to be able to reach that. Got a gear shifter up my ass. Oh yeah, I'm in here, I'm here. Righto, here we are. I don't want to touch it because that there, my friends, is my exact center for my shaft. And Christ, that's taken some working out. Now I can do it all on the other side. Freaking hell, this is not fun. Ugh. Alright, that is it. Got my position, got the position for my shaft, I've got the motor mounts drilled, I'm ready to move it. Now what I've got to do, I've got to actually lift the motor and remove it back to a point where I can actually pick it up with my trailer crane on the weekend. So I'll do this one, I'm going to move this whole shebang back over to the other side so I can start working on that side and get that placement as well, exactly right on the starboard side. So for now I've just got to lift this one up, move it back about 3 feet, and I'm ready to go again. Won't need to do that for another year.
Yeah,
Oh, not that one.
you're ambitious.
Today marks the end of an era, a very exciting day for Janet and I. 25 plus years ago, we started Sea Kayak Jervis Bay, and that led into a big retail store, a tour operation, travel, manufacturing, composites, you name it. It was a fairly big endeavor, and over 25 years we built it into a number of different businesses, and today is the end of a very important era, isn't it, Darren?
It is.
Yep, we're pretty excited. We've
Relieved.
we're relieved. we're pretty happy. We've found a young guy that's going to take over our tour operation, and it's absolutely brilliant. And he's just purchased Sea Kayak Jervis Bay from us, which is the tour operation, the hire of the sea kayaks in Jervis Bay, and it just means that it's going to continue on as we would have loved it to have done. You know, when we had the passion when we were a lot younger, and we've still got the passion, but it's nice to hand it to somebody who's got it, hasn't it?
Yeah, and he's an ex-student too, and he'll do a great job.
He will do a great job. He's a passionate young sea kayak guide instructor, and we're really rapt to be handing it over to Dane. So we'd love you to go out and obviously use his business, Sea Kayak Jervis Bay, and look it up when you come down to Jervis Bay. And we're really stoked, and we're not really sure what we're going to do with all this space because this has dominated our life for 25 plus years, a quarter of a century. Pretty exciting stuff, and as of today, we won't own it anymore. Here we go, here's Dane, Sea Kayak Jervis Bay. What do you reckon, mate?
Off the wall, my my boat ramp for my first hire.
Off for his first hire. He's making money. We're loving it. Get out there and do it, eh? Good on you, mate. Congratulations. We're very excited. Thanks, guys, and thanks for all the business everybody's given us over the years. And let's see it prosper into the future in the beautiful marine park at Jervis Bay.